How's it going, YouTube? Games has started to show the new cards from the Tempest expansion, and in this video we're taking a look at my first set of review on them. As always, if you guys like the video, give me a like, give me a sub. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got Demon Lord Ektar. Someone will tell me what the proper pronunciation is. He's the Shadow Legendary. Important to note though, in this expansion, every class is getting not one, but 2 legendaries. That is extra spicy, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think it's a great change. Makes the expansion more exciting, right? As like, cards have, decks have, classes have different archetypes. Each one getting a legendary this way, right? Which I think is better. Alright, so his effect. First of all, it's a 7 play point, 5/6. So first thing you know is, no matter what his effect is, he already fights with Kiwi and flies, right? And Kiwi's probably winning that fight. Anyway. Necromancy 3, you summon a zombie. Zombie's a 2/2. Repeat for remaining shadows or until your area is full. Okay, after that, you give all other allied followers +2 and rush. So keep in mind, he gives everybody +2 on rush, not just zombies. Like if you have other minions and zombies, everybody will get the rush, right? Which is good. He does not get rushed himself though. So it costs 3 shadows to summon a zombie. So let's say you play him on turn 7. You have like 6 shadows, you get 2 zombies. You get 2 4/2 rushes, which is not bad. Now, I don't see this card being played in any sort of like Nefties deck or anything like that, because they obviously want to guarantee the Kiwi out of the Nefties. So, I mean, this guy will play it in something else. Not going to be played in Aggro Shadow, I don't think. Like, you can give +2 to your followers that already can attack, and they can go face. But Aggro Shadow would not play a 7-drop that doesn't, like, end the game, right? So, I see this guy being played in either mid-range or Control Shadow. Mid-range Shadow we see like here and there a little bit. Control Shadow we really don't see at all. But with enough support, enough cards, we might see things like that in the future, right? And in a deck like that, maybe this guy is like, I don't want to say a board clear, but like he helps you fight the board back, which is pretty solid. So I think the card is good. It's hard to predict how good it's going to be right now because we don't know what the meta is going to be like in the new expansion, right? And maybe in Control Shadow is a thing, and this guy will probably fit in there, so I don't think he will be playing any current deck right now, but I don't think it's a bad card, and he'll probably find his way into some sort of deck in the future. Next, we got Captain Walfred, a Sword Gold, 8 play point 5/5. So not great stats, but not garbage stats either. Compared to a Mammoth, he has like worse stats, obviously, right? Alright, Fanfare, give +2/+2 to all other allied followers. Again, keep in mind, does not mean only officers or anything like that. All followers get +2/+2. And then give all allied officers ward. So, off the bat, you compare this to Sage Commander, right? Sage Commander was a 4/6, get everyone +1/+1. This guy gives +2/+2, which is obviously better. Then on top of that, he gives them ward. Well, only the officers ward. Which is good if you're trying to fight the board with this, which, I mean, I assume you are. You might be using this to, like, push for face, right? But does fight the board well. I mean, Sage Commander does not see play right now, but it's historically been a pretty good card. So, although I wouldn't say this guy's seeing play right now, again, I don't think it's a bad card, and there might be a deck, like, some sort of auto-aim comeback deck that would want to play this guy. It's possible. So, I'm not sure. If auto-aim makes a comeback, if a new deck, like, wants to make that playstyle, then they probably would play this guy. Right now, I don't see this guy being played in any current deck, but again, it's hard to judge cards on current decks because it's going to be a completely new meta, right? So, the officers only officers get ward, but everything gets +2/+2. I don't think it's insanely good or anything like that though, but it doesn't seem bad with like an auto-aim type of deck, right? This guy's understated. Yeah, if you compare it to Sage Commander, like Sage Commander has 4/6, which is like 10 worth of stat, right? Alright, next we got Spiderweb Imp, a Bloodcraft common, a 2 play point 1/4. So already off the bat is overstated, right? 2 play point minions are usually 2/2s or like 1/3, right? 1/4 is above that. Has ward as well, so pretty solid. Definitely meant to be a defensive minion. You can compare this to like the Shadow card that's a 3-play.1/4 ward. So in that sense, it's an overstated 2-drop. Now the drawback is that you do 2 damage to your leader if you are not in Vengeance. The real question is, as a control blood deck trying to fight off aggro, will the 2 damage that you take from this right away save you more life because you have a 1/4 ward? And probably it will, it might not, but probably will, right? Like a 1/4 early game is going to fight a lot of things. It's going to fight things like 1/1s extremely well, right? So I think it's pretty solid. Whether it's good enough to make a cut in the control blood deck in the future, I don't know. But I think it is a pretty solid card. You could play it in aggro just because it has good stats, I guess. I suppose so. Alright, next we got Gravekeeper Sonia, a Haven Silver. It's a 5-play.35. Already pretty solid stats. There's a couple of minions that have that stat line. Not a bad stat line. Not crazy amazing, but not bad either. Okay, she has ward, which is good, obviously. Fanfare, if there's no other allied followers in play, this follower gains +1 and can be damaged by spells and effects. So, like, if you play this as a 4/5 ward for 5, it's like solid, like decent, good. Not insane, just like solid, good. Can be damaged by spells and effects. That seems really good. Now, it does mean that you need an empty board for this to get the effect. However, as Haven, most of the times, like, you have a bunch of amulets or, like, you're clearing, you're playing reactively. And I'd say it's likely that you will have an empty board. It seems really, really good to me. Like a mid-range Haven or even a control Haven could use this, right? Really good against things like D-Shift, stuff like that. Not being able to be damaged by spells seems really strong. Especially as a, like, imagine he was as a 6/7, can't be damaged by spells. That seems really good to me. Seems really good to me. Now, I wonder what deck will play this, but I think it's a really good card. In Arena seems insanely good as well, right? Good stats, good effect, just solid. Just seems good. Yeah, I'll still die to like Dance with Dance, stuff like that, right? But the fact that it can't take damage from like Pierce and Rune, Crimson Sorcery, that matters a lot. Alright, next we got Sous. Now, I've already talked about this card a lot, but you know, we'll talk about it here. So, let me start with saying that I don't hate Sous. I don't think it's an awful card or like a garbage or anything like that. I don't think that. However, I don't like him either, and I don't really see him being played too much, to be honest. He's a 10-play.5/10, and he has Stormbane Ward. First of all, let me say from a design perspective, I don't like him because he's kind of plain. The way they made him exciting is by adding a bunch of keywords on him. And I don't want to say that's lazy, but it's just not exciting, right? Like, you want your big legendaries to have like these crazy effects that are like really unreplicated. Like, think of Olivia, where you get evil backs. That's really cool. You don't see anyone else doing that. Odin gives you a banish, again, pretty cool. Bahamut destroys the world. Like, those are cool effects, right? Sous is like Storm, we see that a lot. Bane, we see that a lot. Ward, we see that a lot. It's just kind of boring to me. Talking about game-wise, he's a legendary that's neutral, so obviously, you know, you can still think of like Sackville combos. He has Storm, he can go face for 5, which is good, obviously, but like, the way I see it, he's a jack of all trades, a master of none. If you're trying to go face and be aggressive with your deck, then honestly, Gilgamesh does the same thing for 2 less mana, and that matters a lot. I don't see any aggro deck playing this, obviously. And if you want to fight the board, aka Storm and trade with Bane or something like that, then I feel like Bahamut is just way, way better because you clear the board. His advantage is that he can like fight the board and have ward left over, whereas Bahamut does not have ward, obviously. Is that enough for you to play Sous or Bahamut though? I really don't think so. So I'm not sure. I'm not too much a fan of it, honestly. Like, if you're looking at a control deck that's playing the Sackville package, you're probably playing triple Lucifer, triple Bahamut, right? And maybe an Olivia? How do you fit a Sous in there? I don't see it. Like, this game is a pretty fast game for the most part, without being like, you know, crazy aggro, but like, even as the slow decks, the control decks, when they get to 10 play points, they end the game, right? Like, Bahamut ends games, Santa ends games. Does Sous end the game with 5 Storm? I mean, he can, obviously, but I don't know, man. It doesn't have that, like, crazy powerful effect, right? I am personally not a fan of it. Okay, next we got Rat Drake, a Dragon Silver. Now, Dragon these days has pretty good AoE. This guy's a 5 play point 4/4. Fanfare dealing 1 damage to all our followers. Keep in mind, it's not just enemy followers, also your own followers, right? So Dragon has this effect a lot. We see it in like Dragon Wings, the Glacial Dragon. If you compare this guy to Glacial Dragon, who's a 7 play point 5/5, deal 1 damage to all followers. This guy's pretty solid because he costs a lot less, right? And then in hands, you do 3 damage instead, which is pretty good, I would say. So it'd be an 8 play point 4/4, deal 3 to everything. Compares to like, what is that called card? The 7 drop, that's a 4/4, deal 4, right? This is an 8 4/4, deal 3 to everything, which is probably better in the long run. Like, you can think of 3 to everything as like a Fog Tempest effect, right? Hits your guys 2, obviously, which is not great, but 3 damage AoE is pretty good for the most part. Now, compare this guy to like Fafnir or Bahamut, right? For 1 more play point, you do 2 less damage. I mean, you do 1 less damage, but you get way bigger stats from Fafnir. And for 2 more play points with Bahamut, you clear the board, right? So I don't think this is a bad card, but again, I don't really see it being played. Maybe like as a one-off or something? Dragon already has Salamander's AoE, and that's pretty good AoE as it is. This guy is a body as well, while Salamander is not, so I don't know. I guess it's nice that it gives Dragon just another option if they want to go for it. And in Take 2, I see this guy being pretty good, to be honest. Like, Dragon's not playing Fafnir right now, so I don't know if they will play this guy anyway, but I don't think it's a horrible card by any means. Okay, next we have Fairy Cage, a Forest Craft Gold. Now, when I first saw this card, you see a Gold Amulet. Effect is when you play a card, put a fairy in your hand if you don't have a fairy. Now, my first impression was this card is bad. It's just bad. You're playing 4 flames to get like F fairy or 2 or 3. If you played 4 flames to get 4 fairies, that's not even good, right? Like, and then if you have a fairy, you don't get a fairy either. So like, it seems kind of bad. So first impression seems pretty bad. Now, the only saving grace to it is that there could maybe, and I'm just saying like maybe here, be a combo where you combo it with something where you can play a fairy, get a fairy, right? Because if I understand it right, if you get a fairy and you don't have red fairies in your hand, you can play a fairy, that counts as a card, and you get a fairy. Play a fairy, get a fairy, play a fairy, get a fairy. Is that good enough? Probably not. But there might be some crazy combo that we, I guess, don't know about yet. First hand, though, it seems pretty bad, though. It seems pretty bad. Line up, Pedal Fencer. I guess you can get like a bunch of 2/2s. I'm not sure that's worth it, but it might be a thing. I don't know. I don't see it happening. But it has some potential, even though the card seems pretty bad right now. You know, some cards, until we see the entire set, we might not know exactly like what their true potential is, right? It seems kind of weak, though. And last we have Halo Golem, and perhaps the best for last. So Halo Golem is a rune bronze. It's a 4 play point 4/3. Earthright, deal 3 damage to an enemy. So, you guys know I like Earth Rune. I think it's pretty good already. Definitely excited to see more support for it. And I think this is great support for it as it is. Now, keep in mind, this does not say deal 3 damage to an enemy follower. This is 3 damage to anything. That means he can go face. So, essentially what this means is, Earthright, play a Crimson Sorcery this turn. Now, we're going to compare it to Crimson Sorcery. It does 3 damage to anything like Sorcery, which is good. Now, it doesn't spell boost your hand, which Earthright might not really care about, but it's not completely like, you know, that might matter. More importantly, though, Sorcery costs you 1 play point. This does not cost you anything. I mean, it costs you a sigil, obviously, but you play it for 4, you do 3 damage. Now, if you compare this to, like, Rem and Ram gives you an effect and gets plus +2. This guy gives you an effect and you get plus +2. But you don't need to evo this guy, where if you draw Rem and Ram in the late game, it feels sad. This guy in the late game is still really good. Now, here's what I see happening. You're playing Levi's, you're playing Disaster Witches, you save the sorceries, and then in the late game, you play a Golem, you do 3 to the face, and then you play 1 or 2 sorceries, and you do like 6 or 9 burst damage. And in a game like Shadowverse, where you only have 20 life, 6 or 9 burst is a lot, and I mean a lot. So this card alone gives Erdrune that nice burst that they don't have. But it's not just that, because it also fights the board, which is fantastic, right? You can play this guy on 4, going first without an Evo and fight the board. And going second, you kill something and you Evo into a 6-5 on turn 4, which is really good. It seems insanely good to me. Insanely good to me. Seems so incredibly good to me. I feel like this card has people divided. There's essentially two school of thoughts here. Some people are saying Himalayas is absolutely insane. It will end all control decks. It's like the best card ever. Like, you can't do anything to it. Absolutely insane. Super broken. Then there's some people saying it's slow, it's bad, games are over on turn 5, this card will never see play, unplayable, all this stuff. Now, I don't think either one of those is right, and we'll get to that. Alright, so Himalayas is a 9-play 0.88 Haven Legendary. Cannot be damaged, you cannot hurt this guy. Cannot be affected by any other card effects, except those that change this card's attack and defense. Now, that might be relevant with some cards in the future. I don't think that's relevant right now. I guess except for like Kaguya, who, let's not consider Kaguya. So essentially, it can't take any damage. It's an 8-8. Can be killed by like Bane, Bahamut, Odin, anything. Just cannot touch this guy. He's on the board. He's going to stick there forever, right? 8-8. So, off the bat, you want to compare this to Seraph, right? That's the comparison that people make right off the bat. So, Seraph is a 8-play point countdown that when it pops 4 times, it wins the game, right? So, let's compare to what this does better than Seraph and what it does worse, right? So, what does this do worse than Seraph? Now, when you play Seraph on 8, you have the ability to win the game instantly the next turn, right? Like, straight up win the game. Doesn't matter how many wards your opponent has, how much life or anything like that. It just ends the game, right? Himalayas does not have that, because unless they are at 8 or 10 health, he's not going to end the game, right? Now, he will definitely end the game over time relatively quick, as he's probably going to face every time, right? But he doesn't instantly win the game while Seraph can, right? Now, Seraph can also be searched by things like the Prison Priest, stuff like that, right? So it has that over this. Now, what does Aegis have over Seraph? Well, for starters, Aegis can fight the board while Aegis cannot. I mean, Seraph cannot. You play the Seraph, it does not influence the board in any way. No, absolutely no way. Now, Haven can be played and be able and kill something, which is better than the Seraph, right? Now, you could say that you're likely not going to have an Evo point on turn 9. And that's true. Probably by turn 9, people are out of Evos. But at the same time, it's not crazy for you to hold an Evo point as, like, let's say you have Santa. People hold an Evo point till Santa. That's not insane. So, keeping this till turn 9, keeping an Evo point till turn 9, probably not crazy to play in a Haven deck, Himalayas deck either. Now, another upside is that you don't have to run the whole Seraph package. Because for Seraph to be, like, win the game the next turn, you have to run, like, Healing Angels, the Sister, Dogmas, and all those cards. And those are not bad cards by any means, but it's like a package that you have to put in your deck. And you don't have to put those, like, a package in your deck if you want to play this guy. If you want to play Control Haven and you want to win condition, you can just slap this guy in, and, like, everything else, like, he needs no cards that work with him, if that makes sense, right? Now, is he insane? I think the effect is cool. I think it's unique, so I have, props on that. You can also compare it to Mordecai, right? Who's like a 5-5 comes back. Obviously, this guy's 8-8 instead of 5-5, but it costs more, so it's a little slower, right? And Mordecai can be, like, transformed or banished or whatever. And this guy cannot, But I say for the most part, most times Mordecai's played, like, he goes around uncontested. Now, I don't think this guy's super insanely broken, because if people can ignore him and kill you, right? Like, what does an 8-8 that doesn't die or can be, interacted with actually matter, right? Like, for example, if you play 8-8 Aegis on 9, you can even fight the board. That's cool. But if Control Blood now has a 20 damage combo they can do, then they don't care, right? Or if you play against D-Shift and they D-Shift combo you, they don't care that you play this guy. Or if you're a Forest deck and you have Road Shenanigans, you ignore this guy, go face, like, you don't care, right? There's other ways to end the game, right? You play this against Dragon, they can, like, Forte Urge you, or Genesis, or whatever. So, it's not like this guy's absolutely insane and, like, he's gonna kill control decks. I don't think that at all. Now, on the other hand, I don't think he's so slow, quote-unquote, that he will never see play or be good or anything like that. because he's a good card and the effect is super strong, right? Like, there's really no other cards like this, right? Like, again, compared to like Seraph or Mordecai, but he's kind of different, right? He's not strictly better than Seraph, but it's not like Seraph is strictly better than him either, right? So there's probably going to be like a Seraph deck and an Aegis deck, and it's not like one is strictly better than the other, right? They'll probably have like slightly better matchups. This guy doesn't like lose to Odin, while Seraph can get answered by Odin, right? This guy essentially can't be answered. Alright, next we got Benonus Pussworm. He's a 5+4/5. And in return, discard 1 card and gain +2/+2. So you always discard the lowest cost. I think this card is pretty good. It's essentially a 5+6/7 at the end of return. Obviously, you don't get the stats till the end of return. So, like, you got to trade as a 4/5, which is not insane. But he will get the stats, and you can evo it. So, it's going to be like an 8/9 for 5 that can fight the board. And that's pretty good. It activates your disco, right? You discard a card. Which, ideally, in that deck, you want to be doing that, right? So, I think it's another good support for Disco Dragon. Whether that still becomes a thing or not, I don't know. The deck, like, really struggled before. This guy's not going to fix it, but in the future, it might, like, if that's a thing, then I could see him playing this guy. Alright, next we got Goblin Zombie. Kind of similar. At the end of return, Necromancy 4, gain +2/+2. Shadow 3, 2/3. So stat-wise, it's pretty premium stats. Like the other dude, the effect happens at the end of your turn. So you can't play it as a 4/5 and like trade, right? But it'll still get the effects. My concern is that you're not going to have 4 shadows on turn 3. More than likely. I mean, you can. If you play like Scolby's turn 1 and then Surgeon turn 2, you definitely can. But more than likely, you're not going to have the shadows. So I don't see Constructed Shadow playing this in like any Constructed Shadow. And in Arena, it's probably solid as... Sometimes you just float a lot of Necromancy that you don't know how to use, so it'll be solid there. I don't think it's like super good, but in Arena it might be okay. Next we got Crystalia Erin. I actually like this card a lot. So first of all, let me say that I think it would be cool if we, or if there was a Control Forest thing that emerged out of the expansion. I think that would be great. And I think this card is a step in that direction. So it's a 6+4/6 ward. Fanfare restored 3 to your leader, and hands recover 1 evolution point, which seems solid, right? You instantly want to compare this card to Fairy Beast, right? Another 6+1 heal minion. Fairy Beast heals you for more, but he does not have ward, and he has ward stats, right? Only 4/4. Now, is this card like absolutely better than Fairy Beast? I don't think so, because if you want to strictly heal, then Fairy Beast is better. And well, obviously comparing it to Fairy Beast makes sense. Let me completely blow your minds here. And I'm going to compare this card not to Fairy Beast, but to Lucifer. And you ask, why would you compare this card to Lucifer? Well, because Lucifer is an 8+6/7 restore 4 to your leader, right? Now, if you enhance this guy, he's an 8+6/8 restore 3 to your leader, but also has Rush, and it has Ward. And in that case, it's actually better than Lucifer. In those sense. Obviously, he doesn't have like that crazy end the game potential that Lucifer has, so it's not strictly better than Lucifer. But he would be at 6/8 rush with ward that still heals, right? And in that situation, I think it's pretty good. So if you play this card as your 8-drop, you still could play Fairy Beast as your 6-drop if you really want to go all in on the heal. But on top of that, you can play this guy on 6 or this girl, and that's still pretty good, right? So I think it's pretty solid. I like the enhance a lot. You're playing 2 play points to get an evil point, which seems pretty good while it's in 1 card, right? So I think this card is really good, and I think that's the start of a Control Forest deck, which I definitely like to see. I think this card is really, really good. Alright, next we got Baphomet. Now we were talking about this card a lot in the chat, so let's talk about it now. So he's a 2 play point 2/1 silver Bloodcraft card. Fanfare, put a random Bloodcraft follower with at least 5 attack from a 3 hand. So it's 5 attack, not 5 play or anything like that. So off the bat, you cannot get things like Bloody Mary into your hand. But it works with things like Soul Dealer, Azazel, things like that. If you enhance 5, whatever card you draw costs 3 less. So off the bat, the best thing about this card is that even without the enhance, it's a solid card, right? A 2 play point, 2/1 draw card is good. You would play that. That's just good. Solid. Enhance becomes even better, right? So, you essentially get SSL. He would cost 3 less. So, SSL costs what? 8 right now? He would cost 5. So, okay. So, the combo is SSL, Lara, Razor Claw. That's a 10 play point combo. So, no, regardless of what anyone's health is at, SSL makes both of them be 10. Now, because you're at Banyans, you Lara, you give SSL Storm. He goes face for 7. You raise your claw for 3 damage to the face. That is essentially a 20 damage combo for 10 play points. And that is really strong, my friends. That is really strong. Like, I like Mary as it is. And Mary can do like 11 burst damage, which is, you know, pretty solid. Also, you can make your deck such that Baphomet guarantees gets SSL. Whether that becomes like its own deck or not, I'm not sure. Because you could play this guy in a Control Blood and not guaranteed get the SSL. Would that be good enough? He'd still be a good card, right? Maybe that deck wouldn't play SSL. But I think the fact that you can do 20 damage with Blood on turn 10, I think that's pretty solid. And that's a strong combination. It's only a 3-card combo, one of which can be searched for with this guy, right? So, that's pretty good. And also, you gotta keep in mind, like, it's like Razor Claw is not a bad card. Like, you do not feel bad for putting Razor Claw in your deck. It's not a bad card. Like, you're okay with it without it. Lara is a little more combo it, but still not like completely garbage card, right? So if you want to dedicate, you know, those slots to your deck to have that burst, I think that's pretty solid. That might become a thing. Of course, you can also get other cards that are not SSL. You can get things like Tempest for 6 or other big minions, which is pretty solid. Now, it is Bloodcraft followers, so you cannot get like an early Bahamut, right? But Blood does have pretty good followers. Mainly SSL. Tempest, I guess, are the other ones that we're thinking about. But that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Think about it this way. You could play a neutral craft Blood, where your only 5 attack plus minions are neutral minions. That we can play control, but you guaranteed get the SSL combo. And that seems really good. Alright, next we got Goblin Princess. A 5 play point, 2/1 silver neutral minion. Fanfare summon 2 goblins. I'm assuming those are 1/2 goblins. And Goblin King, I believe, is a 4 play point 5/5 with ward, if I'm not mistaken. Off the bat, I just think this card's kind of boring. Like, is it bad? No, right? You get a nice body, you get a card to your hand when it dies. Like, it's solid. I just don't want to play this card. This card seems boring to me. Like, okay, you get a Goblin King, that's good. It's probably a pretty good arena card because you get nice value. Would you play as a constructed in a neutral craft? I don't think so. I guess you summon goblins, so like maybe you set up a wind god or something. I don't know. The card doesn't seem bad, but it doesn't seem like super played either. It just seems kind of boring to me, to be honest. So I don't know. I don't necessarily like this card, but I don't think it's horrible either. It's just kind of boring for me, so we're gonna move on. Okay, next we got Tristan with a round table. A sword bronze, 5 play 1/3/4. He's a commander. Fanfare, if you have a commander, gain last words, he summons himself again. Now that only happens once. It's not like he becomes Mordecai, right? Because it's only fanfare, so he'll summon himself once and that's it. Now, the main thing that this card has going against it is that he costs 5 play points. That's really it. Because as sword right now, the 5 slot is so overloaded. You want to play triple Albert no matter what. You want to play Aurelia. You want to play Aben Blader. You want to play Monica. You want to play Cyclone Blade. All these cards that we cannot afford to put any more 5 play point cost into a sword deck. At least not like I guess mid-range or control sword. Would you play something like Banner Sword or something? You get 2 4/4s? I mean, I guess. But even then, you want to just play Albert. And the fact that it's as a commander means that if you play Maid Leader, your Maid Leaders get way worse. Because you really just want to get Albert out of it every time, right? So, although the card is not, like, bad in itself, I think because of these factors, I don't think this guy will see any play. And Take 2 is pretty solid. Yeah, you'll take him. It might be hard to get a commander in Take 2 as, you know, you're also drafting neutral followers and, like, you can't guarantee your commander to officer ratio. But it'd be okay. You still rather take Monica or Raven Blader, though, so even then it's not amazing. So, I don't know. I'm not feeling this guy. I'm really not. Alright, next we got Lilgenic Bolt. This card is weird. So it's a 6 play point runecraft spell. Transfer all followers into Flame Rats. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe Flame Rats are just 1/1s that at the start of your turn, if I'm not mistaken, do 1 damage to both enemy leaders, right? So, you can compare this card to Winter's Caprice, which is a 5 play point rune spell that says turn everyone into Snowman. So, that card is not played right now. It is not played. So, what does this card do that makes it better? Well, it only turns enemy followers instead of all your followers. And instead of Snowman, they're Flame Rats, which means they can do damage to the enemy leader. Is that good enough? Is that worth an extra play point? I don't think so. Like, Transformation Effect is strong, right? It can answer things like Mordecai, any last words, like those type of things. Those are strong effects. That said, the Winter's Caprice is not played. And unless they make something that combos with Flame Rats, I don't see this card being played either, to be honest. Is the 4 clear that goes face? It does go, if it happens at the start of your turn, then it can also do face damage. So, like, if they have 5 dudes, you can Lilgenic Bolt, and it would essentially do 5 phase damage. Is that good enough? I don't know. At that point, you might as well be playing like burn damage, right? So, I don't think this card is great. I think the effect is powerful, but I don't see it being played either.